Welcome everybody to today's Ninja Skill Booster. No more meetings that suck. Oh, that's a big promise. My name is Matt. It's a real pleasure to be with you all today. Thank you so much for coming for this half-hour session where our goal is always to share some really useful information, thought-provoking information, provide a bit of motivation, a little bit of uplift for the day or the week or the month, and get you all on the right track. So once again, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I would like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands that we're all joining from today. Thank them for their stewardship and care of our air, land, water, culture, language for many, many tens of thousands of years. And I'm joining from Garigal country, Baringai country, sorry, on the northern beaches of Sydney. So once again, thank you for joining us. Today is all about meetings. Whenever we talk about meetings, it's always good to think about why are we here? What's our purpose for being here today? And I'll be talking about that in a little bit more detail when we talk about the 4 Ps. Here are my contact details for you. Today is going to be just a quick session, but give you a lot of information. You're very welcome to get in contact with me with any questions or anything after the session. This content's coming from the book How to Fix Meetings, which was written by Graham Alcott and Hayley Watts. Graham is the author of How to Be a Productivity Ninja that many of you have heard me talk about. I know many of you have also read a fantastic book. How to Fix Meetings was written by Graham and Hayley probably about 3 years ago now, I'm thinking. Fantastic book as well. And today's content is coming from that. So I'd love to just hear from you in the chat, please. How are you feeling? It's always good at the start of a gathering just to find out how everybody is. Have a look at these 2 hours. Hopefully these give you a little smile. How are you feeling at the moment? Just a number in the chat would be great. It's just an opportunity for us to pause and reflect. If there's any number 6s, I give you some love. Number 8s, it's still a bit sleepy. Might be time for a coffee. Oh, number 6, there's S. Thomas, number 6. Oh, no. If there's any number 1s, I always give you a bit of love as well. What often happens in our face-to-face meetings when we do this is someone will point at the person beside them or someone will nominate someone else as a number 1, which is always just a little bit of fun. Good to welcome the day. Thanks, Gulnaz. Welcome. So today's content, yes, it's all coming from our Fixing Meetings book and our Fixing Meetings workshop. So this is a longer workshop that we run for teams and organizations to help them improve their meetings. Making meetings rare, fun, and productive again is what we're really looking for. The 4 Ps is a great tool, and I'll talk about this in a bit more detail when we get into the tool for today. But I just want to start with the 4 Ps. It's always a great way to start a meeting, just to make sure we're all on the same page, we're all in the right place, we all know what we're doing here. So purpose, what's the purpose of today? A 30-minute session, give you as much value and information as I can, connect, share ideas, improve your meetings in your businesses. That's what we're looking for today. That's the purpose of this session. Share the tools, hopefully motivate and inspire you. The plan, 30 minutes, pretty straightforward. The protocols, I'm talking webinar format. Please use the chat as much as you like. Ask questions in the chat. If I miss your question, just put Matt in capital letters or something, and I will come to you, because we are in webinar format, because we do get a couple of 100 people registering for these. So that's the protocols. No other real things to talk about there. People is, when we're doing the 4 Ps for a meeting, people is, do we have the right people here to achieve the purpose? So if the purpose is we're wanting to make decisions, we need to make sure we've got the decision makers on hand or in the meeting, for example. So the 4 Ps, great way to start. I'll come back to this later in the session, but that gets us set up for today's session. And this is what we're covering today. Why meetings are broken. We're going to look at what's wrong with meetings. I think you already know, but we'll have a look at some interesting thoughts there. The importance of attention. Our meetings are only as good as how much attention we are providing for each other in the meetings. So important for hybrid meetings as well, where so many people, we can see them on the screen over the side here, like doing their emails, right? So the importance of attention and how to improve attention in meetings. And some tips and tools, just 3 ideas for you towards the end of this session to really, but there's a lot of content within each of these 3. So let's keep rolling. I'd love you to put in the chat, please. What is the problem with meetings? From your perspective, what's wrong with meetings? I'll read these out as we go for the benefit of the recording. I won't be able to read all of them. Too many, way too many. No agenda, too long, too many. Purpose is unclear, no connection. No connection, interesting. Lack of focus, too long, off topic, sometimes unnecessary, not to the point. Rambling. Am I rambling now? No, I hope not. Round and round in circles. Yes, often people are not wanting to push us to decisions. Off topic, yes, they run late. No actions. The chair doesn't keep to the agenda. Lack of preparation. Nice one, Linda. We'll talk about preparation today. Beautiful. I know you knew the answers to that. That just gets us thinking. All right, so why are meetings broken? Let's share some thoughts here. There's too many. You've all said that in the chat there. When is the work going to happen? What we're often thinking about when we're stuck in these meetings, as you've all said, there's too many, they're too long. We're often stressed and worried about when am I going to have time to actually do my work? So I start doing my work in the meeting. So I'm not paying attention. So the meeting starts falling apart in that sense. So we're often worrying about that. Is anyone paying attention? Such a problem these days. I don't know why I'm here. We're often invited to meetings, don't really know why we're there, don't know how we can contribute. So some really good things to start thinking about here, in line with what you've already been sharing there. And just an additional thought here, we're so busy attending meetings, many of us. It's amazing how often I hear back-to-back meetings, especially with hybrid working. So we're so busy attending meetings, we don't stop to think about them. We don't stop to reflect on them. We don't ask for feedback on the value of the meeting for the people that were there. We don't prepare properly. We don't follow up properly. It's because we're just so busy attending them. So you know this, so thank you and well done for putting aside some time today to attend this webinar or watch the recording, because you are stopping to think about it. Everybody's doing it. We're often in this cultural, in our workplaces, there's a certain culture where we're just all just attending meetings because we feel we should. We might be able to add value. It might be relevant. We're all just doing the same thing. I love this slide. I just love these little ducklings. But this is part of the problem. I mean, I love the use of imagery here to help these ideas really sink into our brain. Everybody's doing it. We're just following along. So, you know, we're not being a change maker here or a change agent. We're just stuck in doing the same thing over and over again. So hopefully as a result of today's session, or if you read the Fixing Meetings book or go and put that on a few people's desk, we can start to create some change in your organizations. Of course, meetings are costing a lot of money. You know, it depends on your wage, depends on the people who are there, but it's a multiplier effect, obviously. 2 hours of meetings, 4 employees every week, you know, it's 30 to 50 grand, you know, in expense. That's just the wages expense. That's not the opportunity cost expense of having people stuck in meetings and not going and delivering what they should be delivering as well. So it's a huge cost. If there's any financial people with us today, I'm sure that's floating your boat. When we think about virtual meetings, which so many of us are doing now with hybrid working, I love this quote. The advantage of virtual meetings is the ability to hold them almost anywhere. The disadvantage of virtual meetings is the ability to hold them almost anywhere, right? So what we're often faced with is people dialing in from places that have lots of background noise or distraction, people dialing in from the car, people connecting in places where the Wi-Fi might not be so good, you know, so we're not able to connect. There's delays, there's issues around this. So yes, virtual meetings are extremely helpful and efficient at times, but we all need to put a bit of effort into making sure our sound quality is good, our video quality is good. We have our videos on when it is a meeting format, unlike today's webinar format. And yes, having our videos on all the time can be exhausting. So I do also believe it's okay for people to have their cameras off sometimes. You know, if you're eating your lunch, for example, well, hopefully you're not in a meeting while you're eating your lunch. Or if you are having to be distracted by something else, just turn the cameras off so we're not distracting each other. But having them on most of the time definitely creates more connection. Now, Shopify made some headlines earlier this year when I'm just looking at some notes I've got here, they decided to cancel every meeting. This was like a corporate directive. Any meeting that had 3 people or more, any recurring meeting that had 3 people or more for the whole year was cancelled. They just cancelled them. And they also reinstated no meetings Wednesday. So Shopify went through this huge meetings focus of how to reduce meetings that were wasting time. By doing this, they're predicting that this year, 2023, they'll be saving 36 years of meeting time and 12,000 events. So what they did, they cancelled them all. They took them out of everyone's calendar and they said, you can put them back in. You can rebook the meetings if you need to, but really think about it. Really think of the value that they're going to add rather than just being like the little ducklings, just following along, following along. What was really interesting about this article, however, was that not only did they save 36 years of meetings time, their CEO is predicting that 25% more projects will be delivered this year compared to previous years. 25% more projects because people are not chewing up their time in meetings. So that's the important point here is not only do we not have to waste our time in the meetings, but how do we use that time to be productive? 25% more projects delivered. So there's a lot of thought here, right? A lot to think about when we think, why improve meetings? Why reduce meetings? Why make them better? So Shopify have proved that it's definitely a valuable thing. So let's look at the importance of attention. Nancy Klein does a lot of thinking and writing about productivity, attention, meetings. I love this quote from Nancy. Everything we do depends for its quality. There should be some commas there, sorry. Everything we do depends for its quality on the thinking we do first. And our thinking depends on the quality of our attention for each other. So when we're really thinking about meetings and we're wanting to think together, we're wanting to plan, we're wanting to have ideas, we're wanting to make decisions, the better our attention is for each other, the better our quality of our thinking is. And you know that feeling when you're talking to someone and you can see they're looking at their second screen, or they might actually be looking at you, but they haven't realized that they should be looking at the camera, or you're in a face-to-face meeting and people have got their phone and you know that they're looking down at their phone and they're doing things on their phone during the meeting. The thinking, not just does the attention fall apart, the quality of the thinking falls apart. So how do we improve our attention for each other? This is the key challenge here. People will often say to me, how can I make people pay attention in meetings, right? Well, we can't. We can't make them. We can't force them. There's facilitation tools to get people's attention, obviously. Better slides if we're using PowerPoint. But one of the key things I think, if I just go back to those 4 Ps that I shared right at the start, the protocols, if at the start of the meeting we set some protocols, if it's a face-to-face meeting, set some protocols and say, hey, everyone, are you all okay to turn your phones off for this meeting? Shut your laptops. Is everyone okay if they're the protocols? There might be some exceptions. People might have someone in hospital. They might need to be contactable, or some kids or elderly parents or something. Talk about those, get them clear. Once we've agreed those protocols, people are going to be less likely to break them. And if it's a hybrid meeting, okay, can we set a protocol that we're all going to pay attention? We're not going to have our Outlook open. We're not going to be doing our emails at the same time. Can we all agree that? Yeah, if everyone agrees, once again, we can't force them, but it is a way of just creating an agreement that will help people stay on board, if you like. So how do we keep people's attention? Having breaks. What this research shows, this came from the Israeli Parole Board, or some research done on the Israeli Parole Board, and it showed the proportion of favorable parole decisions granted over the course of a day. And it shows that it started quite high, about 60, 70%, down to their first break, and it went down, 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 down. Then they had their first break, and it went back up again after the break. Slowly it went down again, then it went back up again. What this is showing, after a break, our brains are more fresh. We're more able to make difficult decisions. Granting parole is a risky decision. It's a difficult decision. So that's why as the decision fatigue sets in, as they've been making a lot of the decisions when they haven't had a break, they start defaulting to the safe option. So have a break, bang, back to being able to make those difficult decisions. So this is the importance of having breaks. In my view, we should be having breaks in meetings every 60 to 90 minutes, at least give people a chance to stretch, definitely give people a chance to go to the bathroom. A 2 or 3 minute break is great for just a recharge. We don't do it in these 30-minute webinars because they're just 30 minutes, right? But breaks are so important. So the power of breaks. So now let's get into our 3 tools that we've got for you, 3 ideas, 3 concepts that are going to bring this together. And by the way, all our sessions, as most of you know, are really interactive. And even though this is a webinar format, there's time coming up where I'll be asking you to reflect on, what am I going to do? What am I going to do to make a difference? And I'm also going to shortly get you to look at your meetings to see which ones you can cancel. So we've got some good interaction coming up now. So ninja ruthlessness, one of our 9 ninja characteristics. This is our first tip. Bring some ruthlessness into your thinking around meetings. No agenda, no attendance. If people are just sending you Outlook invites or Google or calendar invites without any detail, no agenda, no clarity, no purpose, don't go. Just don't accept that meeting. Go back to them and say, can you provide an agenda, please? Can you provide a purpose statement, please? In my view, you can see at the bottom of this slide, it says ninja level, no purpose statement, no attendance. In my view, the purpose statement is actually more important than the agenda. We could have an agenda, but if we don't really have a clear purpose, it's still not really a meeting worth going to. So make sure we're clear on why the meeting's being held, what it's trying to achieve. If you're the organizer, that sits with you. If you're being invited to a meeting, ninja ruthlessness is, I'm not coming. I'm not coming unless this is clear. Also have a think about, is this meeting valuable? Now on the slide here, it says, is it valuable to me? But I also like to flip this around and think, if the meeting's not valuable to me, am I valuable to the meeting? Can I add some value to the meeting or the people at the meeting? So as long as there's a value exchange of some sort, either I'm getting value out of the meeting or I'm contributing value to the meeting, then we can accept it. Accept the invite. Can I delegate? Can someone go on my behalf? Or if we're a team of 6 people or 10 people, can one person from the team go to the meeting instead of the whole team and just report back what's happening? Can I attend part of the meeting? We call this a cameo. Can I do a cameo appearance? If it's a long meeting, but there's only one section that's relevant to me, ask the organizer, hey, is it okay if I just come for that 20 minutes? That's the bit that I really need to be there for. So this is ninja ruthlessness. It's a little bit of pushing back, a little bit of tell me what the meeting's for, tell me the timeframes, tell me the purpose. Deleting isn't cheating. This is ninja ruthlessness at its best. Stealth and camouflage. Block yourself out in your calendar so people can't book you to meetings. Or if meetings do come in, it's okay to say no. Sorry, I can't make it. I'm working on some big stuff at the moment. Dialing in for part, we also said. But the key thing about this slide is deleting, getting rid of meetings that you don't want to go to. You don't need to go to. So I've got a challenge for us here, just for about a minute. I want you to open up your Outlook calendar or your Google calendar, whatever calendar you use. Please don't get too distracted by any emails in there. But I want you to try and save yourself 2 hours in the next, let's go the next 2 weeks. Save yourself 2 hours in the next 2 weeks. See if there's a meeting that you can decline or a meeting you can cancel if you're the organizer. If you're the organizer and it's a long meeting, can you make it shorter? So can you shorten the meeting? Or if you're thinking about meetings that you often have, can you uninvite some people? Can you take them off the invite list to save them some time? So do that now, just a minute or so. And put in the chat, please, how much time you've managed to save in the next 2 weeks. Is there a meeting you can decline? Is there a meeting you can cancel? Or is there a meeting you need to push back on and say, is there an agenda? Is there a purpose? Kristen, 4 hours saved. Boom, I love that. Thank you. 4 hours, Jennifer. Oh, look at this. Well done. This is fantastic. 5 hours over 2 weeks, Christine. Alison, 1 hour. Still good practice. Thanks, Gulnaz. Yes, 6.5, Louise. Wow. So see, 2 hours in 2 weeks looked like quite an easy task. I'll just give you another 15 seconds for those of you still looking through it. Nice one, Rachel. Nice to see you here. Your name here. 2 hours. I know you've got a lot of stealth and camouflage in your calendar. 45 minutes. There's my timer. That's a minute. I only have many necessary ones. Okay. Good job, everyone. That's a really interesting opportunity to pause and reflect and think, do I really need to go to these meetings? Let's be ruthless about these. You might want to make that part of your weekly review. For those of you that have done our weekly review courses with us or done the weekly review part of our courses, you might make this check your meetings as part of your weekly review. See if you can actually save yourself some time. All right, ninja preparedness. Well done, everyone, for that. Our second tip here, ninja preparedness. The 4Ps, the 4Ps that I've already shared, they're a beautiful way of preparing for a meeting. Make sure we're doing the thinking when we're designing the meeting up front. So these can be used in two ways. They can be used in the preparation phase. They should be used in the preparation phase, but also they should be verbalized at the start of a meeting. It's really good to sit down, even if it's a one-on-one, and say, hey, Matt, what's your purpose for this meeting? Oh, yeah, this is my purpose. Make sure we're on the same page. And so use the 4Ps as part of our preparation. We love this model, the 40-20-40 model, which is to identify the fact that we should divide our attention in different sections for a meeting. The before phase, 40% of our effort, our attention in the before meeting phase, planning, preparing, inviting the right people. 40% of our attention in the after meeting phase. When the meeting's finished, the follow-up, doing the actions, writing any minutes if necessary. So all of that work that should be done after the meeting, preparing for the next meeting if necessary. And only 20%, therefore, of our attention, time, and energy actually needs to be in the meeting itself. So if we get ourselves well set up for the meeting, if we know we're going to do all the follow-ups properly, the meeting itself doesn't need to be so long. Get the pre-work done, get the pre-reading done. So this 40-20-40 model, it's not saying if it's a 1 hour meeting, you need to spend 2 hours preparing for it and 2 hours following up, but it's just a really exaggerated or clear form of saying, make sure we're not forgetting the before and after phases of the meeting. They are so important. What we often hear is people are just not having even time to do the actions, do the follow-ups. That's where the work happens. That's where the progress really gets made. The third tip for you, ninja unorthodoxy, think about changing things up if you can, make things more interesting. If meetings have gone stale, like Shopify did, not so much that their meetings were stale, but just cancel them. If you feel that a meeting is no longer adding value, no longer has a clear purpose, people are finding it a drag, cancel it, chop it, and see what happens. See what feedback you get. You might have someone come and say, oh, that's the meeting. Oh, that's a shame that meeting's been cancelled. That's when I found out about this or that. Aha, okay. Maybe I can share that information in a weekly email or something instead, if that's the only bit that people are really missing. So don't be afraid to just cancel some meetings and see what happens. Keep people moving, don't yoga. Keep people moving in meetings. Get them standing up. Little group activities if we can, if they're longer meetings. Get people moving around the room. Get people to change seats if it's a long meeting, to give them a different perspective. Changes their brain. So just keep people moving. This is all part of ninja ruthlessness. And where we're headed here is we're wanting our meetings to be great. We're wanting our meetings to be productive. And I love this quote from Graham. Great meetings are the ones that find collaborative flow. The state where 5 brains truly are greater than 1, or 2 brains or 3 brains truly are greater than 1. That's what we want our meetings to be. That's what our meetings should be for. If the purpose of the meeting is to brainstorm, come up with ideas, make decisions, that's really applicable. If the purpose of the meeting is just to share information, then it's just a one-way thing. It's like, okay, here's the information. The meeting's finished. It is about being really clear on the purpose. And then we know what outcome we're looking for. So we've looked at a lot of content today. These are so fast, these sessions, right? To get all this into 30 minutes for you. And we've looked at why they're broken. We're all just following along, doing the same thing. The importance of attention, being present, how to get people to be present, how to be present ourselves, and those tips and tools that we went through, the preparedness, the ruthlessness, all those ideas in there. So I want you to have a think now, please. What will you do? You know that our workshops are always full of action and we want you to take action and make a change. So what will you do now? just for a minute, bit of reflection. I'd love you to put this in the chat as well. It's always good to just capture your thoughts on this. What are you going to take out of today's session that you're going to take as your main point, or what are you going to actually do as a result of today's session? I'll just give you a minute to think about that. Please put it in the chat. And hang around because I've got another giveaway at the end. I always like to do a giveaway at the end of these. Love these comments. I'll start reading some of these for the purpose of the recording. Look at recurring meetings that have no purpose. Add the purpose to the start of each meeting. Oh, everyone's loving the purpose. Add purpose statements. Review the calendar. Add specific purpose statements. Be proactive when selecting meetings. Redesign some meetings to be unorthodox. Yes. Focus on preparation and agenda. The preparation's key. Not accept an invite without an agenda or a meeting. Gold, says Peter. I love it, Peter. Thank you. Great comments here. Try to be from about not accepting to know that is purpose. Everyone's loving the purpose. The purpose statement is such a simple thing to implement and so powerful. Okay, the minute's up. Focus more on ruthlessness. Add questioning the value of the meetings. Yeah, nice one, Donna. Really question the value of the meetings. Put protocols in larger meetings. Yes, Kristen. And the small meetings. Even protocols in small meetings can make a big difference. If there's any questions, please let me know. I'm going to stay on at the end of today's session to answer any specific questions you may have. Happy to stay around and answer that. You can put them in the chat. We've got a whole lot of new workshops that most of you already know about that we launched this year at the start of 2023. These have been so popular and they're really taking our productivity training like to the next level for our clients. It's bringing productivity into this other area of leadership as well. Things like delegation, project management, coaching, giving feedback, giving and receiving feedback, emotional intelligence. And just to share with you before I give you the giveaway details, just to share with you some upcoming events that we've got happening where you can find these. You can always go to our website. If you click on Invest in Yourself courses, this is if you're not running our normal workshops within your businesses, as most of you are, but you can come in here and see we've got some public workshops coming up. 6 Weeks to Ninja workshop, 6 Weeks to Ninja program, such a great program. Starts on October the 5th. Coaching to Empower is coming up. Way of Productivity Ninja, that was a couple of weeks ago. So that one needs to be removed. But also, as you also know, we've also got the free webinars always listed in here. So you can come in here to thinkproductive.com.au, free webinars, and click on that. So thank you so much for coming, everybody. As I said, stay around if you want to ask some questions. You can put them in the chat. I'm going to stop the recording and then give you the details of the giveaway. Here are my contact details for you once again. I'll just stop the recording. Thank you for watching the recording.